Hello and welcome to another trip report. This time from London Liverpool Street. I arrived here yesterday with a Greater Anglia intercity service from Norwich. Today I'll be traveling back home again to the Netherlands, and I'll be traveling on ferry today in our great railway and sail office on the Greater Anglia network. And there's even a direct ferry train. That's what I'll be taking today. It's a train right behind me. It's an older train. It's not an intercity train, really a commuter train. Anyway, I will show you the railway station of London Liverpool Street in this video, show you the train and give you some more background about this route, and I will end up with some views from the train. I hope you like this video. If you do so, give me a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more train related videos, videos about ferries, subscribe to the channel. For now, let's roll the intro. London Liverpool Street is one of the terminal railway stations of London. There are some intercity services from here to Norwich. Apart from national rail trains, you will also find the overground, the Elizabeth Line and the underground of London over here. Because this is a terminal station, the layout is pretty easy. At the end of the tracks you'll find most railway related services and of course lots of commercial areas. As you can see, there are lots of vending machines for tickets, and of course you also find several ticket counters. Most commercial areas can actually be found at a higher level, and at the moment you're at the railway station you don't really notice it, but this is actually the ground level. As you can see here at the front, there are lots of screens that will host information about departing trains, and these screens in the UK are in general quite clear. At the central hall of the railway station there's also an information point. Like I mentioned before, you only notice that the tracks are at a lower level at the moment you are leaving the railway station, as you can see over here. At the front and at the side of the railway station there are several bus stops and taxi stands, so it's easy to find connecting public transportation. But of course you also find the underground over here. Of course it's nice to take a real London cab, however I think the public transport is in general quite good, so there's no need to take a taxi. There are several entrances and exits to this railway station, but they're not all really close to each other, so keep this in mind. Anyway, time to go back to the main railway station hall and, well, the place where you find most facilities. As far as I know, there should also be a first class lounge for Greater Anglia, but I couldn't find it. Somehow I feel like the first class lounge isn't there anymore since there are new intercity trains on the Greater Anglia network. If you know this, just let me know in the comments. The underground is very well integrated within this railway station. By the way, if you're traveling in London or the Greater London region, there's no need to buy an Oyster card. You can just use your bank card as a smart card for public transportation, so you don't need to pay for an Oyster card itself, where you need to pay for an additional deposit. Like in most bigger British railway stations, you will find access gates over here. I noticed that at the moment there is no staff to assist railway passengers. The gates will just be open in general in the UK. And otherwise, there's always staff to assist you right next to the access gates. Apart from that, tickets will pretty often be checked within the train as well. Speaking of which, this is our train for today. It's a British Rail Class 321. These trains have been in service since 1988 and are therefore not the newest trains anymore. There's a small first class section, a yellow stripe above the windows, and the letters first class do indicate where you find the first class. Wheelchair icons do indicate the section that's specially designed for people with mobility problems. For the rest, these trains are really simple. Like I mentioned before, these are true commuter trains, and these trains do come in a 3x2 layout. Therefore, the aisles are really narrow and the seats are not that wide either. For shorter distances, this is pretty fine. I traveled quite often with these trains and especially as a connection on the Stena Line ferries. And I noticed that most people who are traveling on these trains are not coming from or going to the Stena Line ferry that's going to the Netherlands. At several spots between the back ends of the seats, you will find litter bins. And of course, at the moment there are no litter bins over here. You can also store luggage at these spots. Within the compartments there are no special luggage racks, but of course you can use the overhead luggage racks that are located all over the train. There is a mix of both airline style seats and seats that do face each other. However, for the airline style seats you won't find tray tables. Something that's absolutely a plus is that all seats do have power plugs. At least at most seats you will find it at the side of the train. It's not that all seats do have personal power plugs. First class comes in a 2x2 configuration, so 2 seats on both sides of the aisle, and you find a mix of both airline style seats and seats that do face each other. At the back over here there's some extra space for luggage, and of course you have the overhead luggage racks. At this spot the area between the back ends of the seats can't be used for luggage. The seats that do face each other do have a bigger table in between, and at one section the table is a kind of foldable. The first class is way better than second class, even though first class feels on this commuter train like a second class product. Within these trains, CCTV is in operation and is integrated within the LED screens that will host route information. Of course, no train tour is complete without doing a toilet review. This is how the regular toilets look like. They're a bit more old-fashioned, but pretty fine, and most important, clean during my ride. Apart from that, there are also bigger accessible toilets, and these toilets can also be turned into a nursery space for babies. As you can see, these are way bigger. There's a support rail, and as you put out this thing, this can be used as a nursery space for babies. I noticed there's no special bicycle compartment, however, people traveling with a bike use the accessible area. The top speed for this train is 100 miles per hour, what is 161 kilometers per hour. During my trip, the maximum speed I noticed was around 145 kilometers per hour. These trains are relatively bumpy, by the way. On the same route between Manningtree and London, I also travelled with the intercity trains, and the comfort level of the intercity trains is much better. Free Wi-Fi is available. It's just an internet connection. It doesn't link your device to an onboard entertainment system or a system where you find route information. It's not super fast, but it's free and it's unlimited. If you are interested in other trip reports I did, in the description of this video on YouTube there's a link to a map, and on that map you can find all trip reports I did. The lines do indicate the routes, and their train and ferry icons do indicate the railway station and ferry terminal reviews. There's also a video available on the Stena Line that will go between Hoek of Holland and Harwich International. That's the final call for this train today. Of course, I'm making more videos, so more lines will be added. And if you don't want to miss anything, just hit the subscribe button. For now, I'll show you some views from the train between London Liverpool Street and Harwich International. that's it for this video. Right now I'm at Harwich International railway station. From here on I'll catch a ferry to the Netherlands. Once again, I hope you liked it or this has been a helpful video to you. If so, give me a thumbs up, and if you made it all the way to this point and you haven't subscribed to the channel already, you might consider to subscribe to the channel. See you on my next video.